darlings, welcome to Tammy and Bert's Utopia, or Tammy's Vintage Cooking today. Now today we're back in the 1980s, darling, or the early 1990s when I brought this book at Sovereign Hill. And so we've got the brown lippy on and we've got the Brooke Shields eyebrows on, and of course the headbands that were very fashionable back then, but I still like them. I've never gone out of fashion with me. Anyway, so I'm going to make some snowballs today, but very first thing I have to do is make a coffee, because I desperately need one while I cook. My favourite cups, they make the kettle on. Only me at the moment because Bert's out helping the boys. While that's boiling, how have you all been? What's new in your world? Well, I'm making these for Benjamin and for Simone today because they love them, and we used to have them a lot back when they were small. Quite often they come home from school and I would have whisked up some snowballs or golf balls for them for after school. So it's so simple to make. So we've got the cocoa and we've got the coconut to roll them in, and we've got the coconut for in the recipe. And we have the biscuits that we have to crush and make a big mess and destroy, and a tin of sweetened condensed milk. And, you know, that's it. They've even dropped the sizes of tins down, I've noticed. It's 397 grams. It used to be 440. Everything's getting less, and yet they're charging us more. But I notice. So the first thing we have to do is break our biscuits up. Now, as you know, that is a very messy thing to do. I've got Millie here at my feet. I have fed her, and she's got water, and she just wants treats. So I might give her a biscuit. What do you think? That's a treat for a puppy dog, isn't it? Kettle's now boiled already. Can't wait for a cuppa. So there's no way that's nice about doing this. You have to be brutal. It's the only way you can do it. Pretty good. Now to that we add half a cup of cocoa, one cup of coconut, and the condensed milk. I'll just tilt it up a bit. My kids loved these. I used to make them double and triple the recipe, and you know, they just love them. And so does Bert. If I don't keep some for Bert, he'll be so cross with me. And he had a terrible migraine last night. So I thanked him for doing some research for my migraine moments, but told him he really didn't have to. Because as you know, migraines are not nice things to have. So what we'll do next is we'll grab our wooden spoon and we shall give them a stir. And that's it. Now, a lot of recipes call for butter in this. You don't need the butter. You really don't. You can just get away with doing it just like this, and it's just as nice.
A few moments later.
Right, that's looking pretty good. It's looking very good actually. So what I will do now is I will get the coconut ready to roll them in, because that's all it needs. Actually, it's a tiny bit dry. I might just add a little bit of milk. This is merely just a scratch. Oh, this gets hard to do. Now comes the real messy part. Oh boy, and is it messy. Right, so that's ready. It's all as sticky can be, which is exactly what you want it to. I have got my water in the sink already, and what I do is oh, it's so sticky to do. Loosely roll them like so, pop them in like an old Tupperware dish for some, you know, with coconut, full of coconut, and roll them out like so. They're never perfectly round, but what's it matter? Doesn't matter. The kids, rather, the adults love them like that anyway. They'll have them any way they come. That's enough in there. So see how they're all just popped in there? And then I put my lid on. Oh, don't you love Tupperware? Perfecto. So out they come onto the dish, and they will go into the fridge for a while, and then I pop them into foil containers. I'll put some on a little plate for Bert, and the rest I'll divide between Ben and Simone, because for the simple reason, Richard is married to one of the best cooks ever. She did cookery at school. She worked in a restaurant, I think, for a little while. She's a marvellous, marvellous cook, and he doesn't need real slices dropped off from Mum. But, so at least I have Simone and Ben to do them for, because Jacinta's also a wonderful cook, so she doesn't need me to drop things off for her either. Lid back on. Trusty Tupperware. This afternoon I've brought all these beautiful little garden stakes for the garden, because the flowers, we don't have a lot in flower. We usually try to have one thing in flower every month, you know, so we've done our garden with that in mind, and it works, but you've still got those dull spots. So I've brought all these cute little things to pop around. I'm going to do that later on. When Bert's home, he can help me do it, and we can decide. And my biggest problem is that I find I only do the garden that we actually see out of our big window, and I don't worry about down around the bend, which isn't really fair to the garden down there, because it doesn't feel like it's included. So I'm going to make sure that I put some down there as well. You can buy these at the supermarket. I'm not sure, but nothing's as nice as homemade, because it's got that ingredient that supermarkets can't give. Love. Oh, I love to cook. I love to cook. When Bert and I were first married, that poor man, what he suffered through. I keep this Tupperware full of coconut just for doing snowballs. And a very cheap slice to make. So cheap. You make it for well under $10, which is very good. I think that's why I used to make it so much when the kidlets were small. But like I say, I never made a tiny mix like this. It was always double mixes, double batches. I can remember when my nieces and nephews used to come over, and I'd make three tins in it, so that we had enough for the extra 4 children, because there was only 4 at that stage. So that's it. them done. Great, that's done. So there you have it. 1980s, 1990s, vintage snowball recipe. The one without the butter in it, because this was the one that I grew up with, and this was the one that I always made for my children. So I hope you enjoyed it. Super cheap to make. Hope you have had a wonderful week. Hope that everything's well your way, and I send lots of love and blessings from beautiful Ballarat. We've got a sunny day today, and it's just gorgeous. So thank you so much. Lots of love to you all. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll put the recipe ingredients down in the description. Thank you, darling. Lots of love. Technology, why won't you work? Hello, darlings.